Hey everyone, welcome to Soulstrology. I'm Bright Hawk, and together with Hollis Taylor, we bring you weekly astrology that's accessible, inclusive, and totally down to earth. Hollis is a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller who loves making the cosmos relatable. We're both passionate teachers who love answering your questions and helping you navigate life through the stars. Each week we start with a guided meditation to tune in to the planetary energies. Then we dive into the week's cosmic forecast, offer horoscopes for every sign, and always make time for your live questions. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, we create a welcoming space where everyone belongs. Our different perspectives and styles come together to give you a well-rounded cosmic experience. Welcome to Soulstrology. Let's get centered, tune in, and explore what the universe has in store for us this week.
Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be changing the format for Rainbow Soul for in the coming weeks. We're going to be recording ahead of time like this, and then we will also be doing a live broadcast same time, Mondays at 5:00. So if a question comes up after you've watched this, which will hopefully we'll be able to start releasing on Sundays. And then what will happen is you can come and ask questions, and the horoscopes will also be found there. Okay, so this will be recorded, this section, so that everyone can see the charts. You'll be able to tap in. You, of course, can also put your comments down below. If you have a comment or a question about the forecast, please put it in. I'll try to look when we go live at 5:00 on Mondays to see if anyone said anything, see if there was any questions, and I'll try to answer those on the live broadcast. That will be the live broadcast will be in the other format, which is more like for your cell phone, so you can listen to it live, and while you're cooking dinner or whatever it is you're up to on a Monday night. Okay, so first we're gonna start with a beautiful the beautiful meditation with Bright Hawk's ham pan music. All right, Bright Hawk, you unmute. A deep breath and allow your body to relax. Imagine yourself floating in outer space. With darkness as far as you can see, with the stars sparkling back at you, and you can feel a glow behind you. And the glow behind you with the moon glowing down on you, feeling the light from the moon. As it penetrates you, it pulls you. And as you study this beautiful moon in front of you, you can kind of make out a symbol on the moon. That symbol is Aries. It is the horns of the ram pushing forward, inspiring you to take action now. And that full moon holds you in independence as a strong warrior with strong boundaries, and motivation to get going. And you feel this deep in your heart. You feel like you're ready to go. And as you put your hand on your heart and close your eyes, you are transported back to your seat where you are right now. Knowing that you have the fire, the desire, and the strength to push forward. And you find yourself back in your body, in the here and now, at Rainbow Soul Astrology Weekly Astrology Forecast. Well, great job, Red Hawk. This is beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much.
Well, likewise.
All right. So, of course, this week it kicks off with an Aries full moon. So I just thought I would bring that through for us. If we were wondering what that Aries full moon was going to do, Aries is a lot of cardinal energy. And there's a reason it happens in spring, you know. And Aries is about kicking us off and getting us going in the right direction. Aries doesn't always have the stamina to get us all the way through, but Aries will often get you out of the gate, which sometimes for a lot of us, that's all we needed. So Aries people in your life, people with strong Aries placements, will often be that way. And I think it's funny because in our sometimes when I counsel people with Aries placements, they really give themselves a hard time about not following through on things sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I always want to point out to them that that is the Aries way. And maybe you're supposed to start five things, five different things. And maybe there's something to be learned in that. And I think sometimes our culture tries to put people in boxes, like everybody should do this and follow through. Just like Gemini tends to like jump around to subjects. And I'm always saying, maybe that's what you're supposed to do. You know, maybe you're not just supposed to be doing the same exact thing. Like, everybody wants to model themselves after, Capricorn or Taurus or something. But that's really it's not realistic, I think. So just want to say, if you find yourself taking off on something, don't give yourself a hard time about it. And just, I think Bashar's advice about following what lights you up right now, I think is actually the best advice that you can actually follow. All right. So we wanted to take a look at the charts. I'm going to add those up. And of course, we start with Monday. And this is Monday. The sun today is in Libra. Of course, because we're in Libra season. It's fall, right? Trees are shedding their leaves, and that's also cardinal energy. Just by the way, Libra is also cardinal energy because it's the beginning of the fall, right? Okay. Isn't it? Yeah, it is. Because the next is Scorpio, and that's fixed. And then we have Sagittarius, which is mutable. So Libra is another cardinal energy, just like Aries, so they have that in common, but they are opposite each other. One of Aries is very fiery, and Libra is it's airy, very airy. And of course, we're having a full moon, so Libra, so the sun is in Libra, and the moon is in Aries, right? They're across the sky from each other, right? Makes sense. So that's where we're at right now, and that's where our full moon in Aries. I think Bright Hawk, you said it's void though. It's void, of course, at 12:30. Is that this morning?
Yeah.
You'll have to unmute yourself.
Right. So the full moon in Aries, when the moon entered Aries, it was this morning. So we had a void of course moon. So if maybe you worked the night shift last night, maybe it was a little bit quieter. Moon in Aries, a lot of times we call it the cat on a hot tin roof, right? It's a nervous disposition. The moon is wet, watery Cancer, right? The moon represents it is at home in Cancer. So what is it like when it's in Aries? Well, Aries obviously is cardinal fire. Moon is a cardinal sign, of course, and of course when the moon is in Aries, it's going to answer to Mars. It's going to be in conversation with Mars as the ruler of Aries. And the moon in Aries, on the positive side, of course, we have initiative, like Hollis was talking about. We have ability to take action on things, great at getting out of the blocks, great at having an idea and putting it into action. The challenge part, of course, as Hollis was saying, is the shadow side of Aries can be very confrontational, even violent, aggressive, my way or the highway. That's the sort of the shadow side of Aries moon. The big feature that we're also seeing in the sky today on Monday, October 6th, is a really significant finger of God pointing at Mercury. The base of it is that Saturn-Neptune conjunction and Uranus. So the base is always going to be sextile So Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus are all in a sextile, and which is a positive aspect. You have to do a little bit of work, but there's blessings in it. As one of our astrology friends says, we like the planets having sex. That's how you can think of a sextile, and that it's easy energy, good energy, and not as easy as a trine, but a little more action required. But there you go. Mercury, of course, is all about communication. Mercury rules Virgo. And of course, when we see a finger of God, that means it's really fated energy. Two in conjunction basically means 150 degrees. So it's not an opposition. It's not the same as an opposition. It's 1/. So when we talk about it as fated energy because there's not a lot you can do about it. It puts you on a trajectory. We're all experiencing this finger of God. We're all experiencing Mercury in its potent position there. And of course, Mercury in Scorpio, it's going to have, is it secrets? Scorpio's known for secrets. Mercury is communication. So is somebody going to reveal something? And it's Mercury just entered Scorpio. I should have put that down. That's kind of a big thing because all of us experience it, whether you're a Mercury ruled sign or not. And the challenge side is that Mercury's in a square to Pluto all week, pretty much. And Pluto, of course, is what's underneath transformation. You know, it's the stuff where it's birth and death and rebirth, endings and beginnings. Very much what the fall is all about, right? And a shedding, right? The fall is about that shedding. So it's a pretty intense day. If you're feeling like, oh my God, there's a lot of energy today. Yeah, I would agree. So that's my 2 bits on the full moon in Aries.
So I was going to talk about that yod because it's it's pointing at Mercury, and that's also a pretty important aspect of Monday. It almost makes me think, especially being a Scorpio rising, anyone with a strong Scorpio placement has probably felt this moment where it almost feels like the words like God or spirit or the universe or your whatever came up behind you and pushed you and made the words come flying out of your mouth. And it would be some sort of like, and all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden some words would come pouring out of your mouth that would be incredibly probably intense because that's Scorpio. And later on, what usually happens to me during these moments is I'll give myself a hard time about it because I have a Libra moon and I hate when I say things that stirs the pot. Oftentimes when I stir the pot, it was necessary to be stirred. In other words, it should have been stirred. And so it's not always like, sometimes in the moment we're kind of like, I can't believe I said that. But then later we're kind of like, oh, but I needed to say that. So while it was uncomfortable, while it was intense, while maybe it's not easy to navigate, sometimes some things need to be said. And so I kind of agree with Bright Hawk where she was saying somebody might come forth, especially because that Saturn and Neptune are at the base of that yod. So if you take a look, you can see it. The Saturn and Neptune, Saturn's in Pisces. It's that sort of blue moon looking symbol. It's like 2 fishes actually back to back. And then next to it is Saturn looks like the letter H with a line through it. And Neptune looks like a 3-pronged fork at the top there, and it's in Aries, which has that ram symbol. It's red. And they're both of them are red because they're retrograde. You can see them there at the top of that chart. Both of those are retrograde. They're pretty much still traveling together, even though one's in Pisces and one's in Aries. It just means that, remember, I've been talking about the slow reveal. If you've been following the whole slow reveal thing that I've been talking about, that's pretty much, this is a continuation of that. I'm interested to see what gets revealed today, because there's definitely going to be some reveal today. We're definitely going to have some new information. We're going to learn something new. We're going to be like, wow, what was that? Like, whoa, okay. Like, it could be really important, especially in regards to politics. We may not hear about it right away. We might not hear about it till later today or tomorrow, like late Monday or even into Tuesday. Because I think when I was looking, this yod continues even into like most of the week, right, Bright Hawk? So I mean, by Wednesday we should hear it, but it could come out Monday or Tuesday. I feel like it will probably be said on Monday and maybe reported about on Tuesday. So that's it's going to be coming. And see, Uranus is also involved. Uranus is also retrograde in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Just going to say that. And Mercury is about communication. It's also about networking, and Uranus tends to kind of kick the game cord over. It tends to kind of mess things up so you can restart the game, because it's kind of like, and it only does that when you're off path, really. It doesn't just do that randomly. If you're on path, it may not be such a big deal. It'll just be like a little earthquake that shakes your board up a little bit. But for the most part, you'll be able to navigate it. But if you're off your path, the universe is just going to kick over the game board and make you restart. And that's pretty much, that could happen today. To Monday, Tuesday, October 6th, October 7th. That could definitely happen. And so we're just giving you a little bit of a heads up. That's kind of a pretty intense placement in the sky. It's pretty intense. But I will say that just remember, whatever is revealed is meant to be revealed. It was so sort of like what I was describing at the beginning, where sometimes I feel like, like my spirit guide came up behind me and just batted me on the back, and all of a sudden these words came flying out of my mouth. And the next thing I know, I've said something that's really stirred the pot. I did it just yesterday, actually, and I'm like, oh man, why did I say that? And then I'm like, well, I guess I was supposed to. So, because Mercury, and I've learned to accept that about myself, because I'm not typically a pot. I don't like to stir the pot, but sometimes I do by accident, usually in that fashion. And maybe you've had that experience too, especially if you try to avoid conflict, if you're anything like me. Now, some people will go around stirring the pot, and some people go around saying hard things. And sometimes I wonder, like, are some people doing it because they want to say hard things, or are they doing it, like me? Are they having the same experience I am? And I know that a lot of people do have my experience. So I'm going to say, pay attention to what is said Monday, Tuesday, because whatever is said Monday, Tuesday has a lot to do with some faded energy. Destiny, right? And go ahead, Berha.
Well, I think we could go to Wednesday. So one of the things that I also noticed this week, that because we've talked a fair bit about the bigger players in the sky and that yod, which starts to loosen up by Wednesday. The other piece I wanted to point out was in terms of relationships. Venus is sextiling Jupiter. What does that mean? Well, Venus is currently in Virgo, and when Venus is in Virgo, it's weak. It's in its fall. It means she's not confident. She's not feeling on her game. When she's in Virgo, she's a weak Venus. But Jupiter is just the opposite. Jupiter right now is in Cancer, and when Jupiter is in Cancer, it's exalted. It's actually like really strong, really, really powerful. And Jupiter is already really, really powerful. So you have a very strong Jupiter in the sky right now as it resides in Cancer. So we want to pay attention to what is it turning on. So Jupiter and Cancer are in a positive conversation. Maybe Jupiter's trying to help Venus feel more confident. What Jupiter always asks, what do you want? What do you want? Let's go. Let's have a good time. What do you want to do? Jupiter rules, of course, Sagittarius and Pisces. And so there's a fun loving aspect to Jupiter. So that conversation, what does that look like in your life? How are you in conversation in your relationship? Are there pieces that feel vulnerable, that weak Venus feeling, a little exposed? Um, and Jupiter asking the question, what do you want? What can we do? How can we do it? And allowing Jupiter to lift us up a little bit. Because let's face it, we've had some heaviness in this chart. So sometimes I look for, okay, where's the spot where we can find some levity? And Jupiter in Cancer, is there something you can do at home? Is there fall cleaning that you really enjoy and feel, oh God, I feel so much better. I feel like I can breathe. I can think. I have my nookie spots all cozy again. I threw out stuff that I've been meaning to get to. Things like that that can help you feel more secure and balanced in your home space. Because that's what we think about when we think about Cancer. We think about home. So I just wanted to touch on that little Venus sextile Jupiter.
Okay. And as you can see, Wednesday, that yod kind of falls apart. And we still have the sextile, like Bright Hawk is talking about. We do have the moon opposite Mars, which always makes me feel like don't do anything. Don't do anything too fast. Don't make any rash decisions on Wednesday. Just Wednesday, especially during the day. Just hesitate before you make any rash, especially Wednesday evening about 6 o'clock Mountain Time. You probably just want to take it slow. Try not to make any rash decisions. I always feel like anytime the moon is opposite Mars, that's what you want to do. It doesn't usually. The good news is it doesn't last very long. The moon moves very quickly, and so does Mars. So it only lasts a little bit. It's just an hour or so. So, like I said, about 6 o'clock Mountain Time on Wednesday. So, if something comes up sometime in the evening time, Wednesday, anytime in the evening, just don't make any rash decisions. Just wait a couple hours, and you'll probably have a different idea. And I think that's pretty important. And then Thursday, I did notice that while we don't have a yod to say, the sun is in conjunct Saturn and Neptune, which it kind of tells me that we're kind of dragging our feet towards change, towards our destiny, towards whatever this Saturn retrograde, Neptune, this great reveal. There could be some dragging of our feet. There could be something about money and old wounds. So we need to be careful about that on Thursday. And so instead of reacting, maybe because Aries tends to be reactive, instead try to respond, try to find a balance between the two of those. The best way to solve an inconjunct, which is those green lines you see, they're not quite in opposition, but I still think the best way to resolve them is usually with balance. It's by finding the in between. It's by trying to find something. How do we navigate this right in a good way? And I think most of the intensity happens around this Aries full moon. Although I guess over the weekend, I noticed that there was a T square there. So it starts with Virgo on Friday, Virgo opposite Saturn in Pisces, Venus opposite the Saturn Pisces. And this is about money, probably. The most of the reason, I mean, I guess it could also be about relationships or something else. Because or something else, or both of those things, really. Because Venus in Virgo, it's like Bright Hawk said, it's in its fall. It's not very strong. It's usually a self-sabotage. And Saturn in Pisces isn't exactly strong. It's not technically in its fall or anything, but it always feels like a sandcastle you can't keep built. And and so then you're like, I can't seem to keep this thing together. And the water, it's like the wave just keeps coming up and wiping it away on you. And that can be kind of frustrating, right? So, and so what I would say about that is that, it's opposite Saturn, that Saturn. So I feel like there might be something about money that is just sort of frustrating. Maybe something about the system, maybe something you've been trying to get together, trying to put together, but it just keeps falling apart. It's there's something you have to learn there. So what I would do is I would take the middle path, which tends to be Capricorn Cancer, which is all about learning and or get stubborn. You can get stubborn like a Capricorn and try to push it up the hill, or you can get curious like Cancer and dig in and educate yourself some further so you can figure out what you can do to change the situation, problem solve, which is also a Virgo trait. Virgo tends to be a bit of a problem solver. Capricorn will just push on through. So that's what I'm going to say over the weekend, particularly on Saturday. You're more likely to figure out the answer because the sun will be in Gemini. So it's probably a problem solving thing. So with that T square with the moon in Gemini on Saturday, I feel like you'll be able to sort of figure out or discover what the best choice is, what the problem solve is in there. And like I said, take a look in your chart, figure out where Virgo is, where is Venus in Virgo, because you're going to want to know that, because that's really that's really going to help you understand how this Venus in Virgo is going to affect you, how it's going to what part of your life it's going to affect, right? So you can see there's like 12 little pieces of the pie. You can see the numbers in the most inner circle. It's yellow and it starts on the left hand side and it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all goes all the way around to 12. And that is the houses. That's what those numbers are. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to figure out where your Virgo is. What house does it rule? When I say it rules a house, if you look at this chart, you can see that Virgo actually doesn't start or begin or end any house. It's actually in the middle. We call that intercepted. So Virgo is technically intercepted in the 6th house, which usually just means it's a little bit more hidden. But because this isn't a birth chart, it's less important, okay? But in a birth chart, it will matter because intercepted usually means you are kind of unaware of it, like it's just kind of invisible to you, kind of like the 12th house. But you can tell if Virgo runs the house as if it begins it. So obviously it begins on the low, all the houses begin on the left-hand side where that arrow is pointing at Aries. That begins the 1st house. So the 1st house is ruled by Aries. That's what that red zodiac sign is. The second house is ruled by Taurus. Okay, that's that circle with the little horns, right? The 3rd house is ruled by Gemini. You can see how it begins there. And then we have Cancer twice. So actually Cancer rules the 4th and the 5th house in this chart. Okay? And then Leo rules the 6th house. Okay? But Virgo is intercepted. But everybody's chart looks different. I'm just doing that so you can figure out what house is ruled by what zodiac. This is what you would learn in our 101 class that you can find on our website. you can find at the website divineandrogen.com. The link is in the description here. You can follow that link, and you can even, there's even a coupon down there. You can use that coupon and download our I think it's 5 hours video where you can do it at your own pace in your own way, and you can learn how to read your own chart. And so when I start talking about, Virgo, Venus and Virgo, you'll be like, oh, that's where my South Node is, which you can see that's where the South Node is. So if you're struggling with something like money problems or something like that, and it brings up something in the past, don't be surprised because the South Node is there, right? So it tends to bring up things from the past, which might still need to be resolved, talked about, or worked through somehow. Just remember, Virgo's a problem solver. So instead of reacting like that Aries energy wants you to, instead of doing that, try to tap into problem solving, especially with that. On Saturday will be the easiest day to do that with the moon. In Gemini will be the easiest time to resolve that. So if you can put off whatever comes up on Friday, maybe put it off till Saturday, you'll be easier to resolve it on Saturday. Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Bright Hawk?
No, I think we can go to the last day, Sunday, October 12th. And I kind of want to do that. It sets up on Saturday, but it really becomes more aligned on Sunday, the Grand Trine. So we have it's almost a Grand Trine in air. And the reason why I say almost is because we have Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius, air sign, Uranus at 0 degree Gemini, air sign, and Venus at 28 degrees Virgo. That's an earth sign. So that's the only reason why it's not perfected as a Grand Trine in air. But what does that mean? What is that all about? Well, Grand Trines means that all the elements are that each of the trine is in the same element, in this case air. We're very close. Virgo almost into Libra, Libra obviously being the air. And air is all about our mental capacity, how we think. So if your thinking changes, or you can sit down with somebody you really love, respect, and have a conversation where instead of having a conversation about all your thoughts, you can actually have a conversation about your thinks. Get what I did there? When we are in a flow, air energy is flowy, right? When you think of Aquarius, while it is the sign of the water bearer, and that always is so confusing, I think most of us take a long time to remember that Aquarius is actually an air sign, not a water sign. The association with Aquarius is flow. So Pluto, obviously, we've talked about it. It's about transformation. Uranus is all about revolution and revolutionary change, like no going back kind of revolutionary change, and Venus in Virgo. So that Grand Trine, again, that we talked about the weekend being the opportunity for if there's hard stuff that comes up in the middle of the week, maybe by the weekend there's enough energy to loosen up your thinking about it, have a good conversation with someone, and hopefully it resolves in feels like really good, like, oh God, I'm so glad for that conversation. I'm so glad I can think about this in a new way, or what have you.
Yeah, I also want to point out that okay, so Venus is traveling in Virgo at 28 degrees. So what that means is that's on Sunday, but of course on Monday it will be at 29 degrees, and on Tuesday it will be at 0 degrees, which will perfect that trine. Also what happens on Monday, Tuesday is Pluto goes direct. So what I want to say is October 13th and 14th are also very big days astrologically, especially with Pluto going direct, because it's been retrograde for a while. We probably will suddenly just feel like we're moving in the right direction. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been stuck on, like, even Rainbow Soul, I've been stuck on how to how to improve, how to make it so it's accessible for everyone, and how to make it also easy and doable for us in a good way. And trying to sort of resolve those kinds of situations has been challenging, I would say. And Bright Hawk and I have gone back and forth and had all kinds of conversations in the last couple of weeks. It has not been an easy thing. And I feel like that's a lot of that Saturn retrograde and Uranus retrograde and Pluto retrograde. And I'm finally like, ah, finally. Okay. And so I feel like this is sort of the light at the end of the tunnel. So if you've been trying to resolve some problems, some challenges, you've been trying to find the answer to things, maybe you haven't known what to do about certain problems, you might start finding them starting October 13th, 14th. They'll probably be part of the slow reveal. And it will be a slow reveal. It's going to be a slow unwinding. It's not going to be like all of a sudden you wake up and know the answer. It's going to be more like, oh, I should probably try that. And then you're not really sure. And then it ends up working out type of thing. So like Monday, Tuesday, um, that's really where we're going to start seeing really how things are changing and if things are working out. Next Monday, Tuesday, October 13th, especially with Pluto going direct, that could feel really good to us, especially probably later in the week, next week. So just to give you a little sort of foreseen, I haven't looked at the whole week, but I imagine that Pluto retrograde in this grand trine will really bless our week. It will definitely give the sort of the beginning of the weekend, Sunday, a good kickoff, sending us off in the right direction in a good way, feeling like we're making progress and we're making the changes where we need to. All right. So let me.
So hopefully it's a great week for everybody and that this helps you get there. Boy, you know what would help us is if you can let us know where are you tuning in from and do you like the new format? And if there's anything that you're keen to have us answer, if you write your questions in the comments, we'll try to address them in the live Q&A session that we'll also do on Mondays. We're going to try to have this flexible for it's a both and instead of an either or. As a Sag, I love that. Sagittarius, we're all about the both and, okay? Jupiter's our ruler.
Yeah, and that's a very Libra thing to do as well. Like we're just kind of like, both. And so that's kind of what I've said is both. And so we've gone back and forth with the two formats, and part of me is like, well, we should have a video like this where people can just chime in and get a quick forecast for the week. If you want to hear your horoscopes, I will be doing them live on Monday night at 5 o'clock, and then I will chop them up into all the different signs and release them as reels. So you can come back to this Facebook YouTube page, wherever you're listening to me at, and you'll be able to see you'll be able to find your reel. It will show up as a reel. So then you can grab your horoscope for the week. And so hopefully we'll get this, we'll start getting things out a little bit more advanced, but of course the horoscopes for the week won't go out till Monday, but you will be able to get this one probably on Sundays starting next week. Okay. So on that October 12th, on that grand trine, we're going to do it, Bright Hawk. We're going to get it done. So thanks all of you for tuning in. You know what, Bright Hawk, let's do the tarot reading now. Let me do that.
Well,
now.
And this is always a great opportunity to see how the tarot always seems to reflect the astrology of the week. Hollis does a 3-card pull, for the past, the present, and the future. I'll talk for a second while they shuffle. And it's always amazing to see how the cards and the stars speak in unison. And we always say in astrology, it's usually not one thing that points to the theme, it's multiple themes. So full moon in Aries, then we have that yod with Mercury, we have a grand trine at the end of the week. Hopefully all of these things are translate into a beautiful week for you, a productive week for you, and an insightful week. Because with that Grand Trine in air, I think there will be some insights. All right, Hollis, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, so just I know there's a way to do it. There we go. Okay. So this is the first card. This has a lot to do with the past. This has to do with some choices you've made. Maybe there have been some choices that you've made in the past that, that led you to where you are now. They're not good or bad choices necessarily, but they were choices none the same. And so you made those choices, and the universe is saying, well, you made this choice, and now what are you going to do about it? And so there are some choices that the universe is asking you to remember that you made, why you made them, and maybe what your intention was. Maybe it's a gentle reminder about some sort of choice you made. Now, in the present this week, remember temperance, balance, which is what I was talking about in the inconjunct. When two planets are inconjunct or opposite each other, the best thing to find is balance, in the middle. What's in the middle? Remember how I was saying that Capricorn and Cancer are in the middle of Virgo and Aries. So, sorry, Libra and Aries, and Virgo and Aries. But either way, in the middle is balance. And balance is like, well, there's a reason why I have a screen named Strive for Balance. Strive for Balance is literally, I think that life is about balance all the time. Even before I totally understood my astrology, my first screen name ever back in like 1993 or something was Strive for Balance. And I've had that name for years now, and I still always strive for balance because I have figured out that in life, if you indulge in either way, it's probably not going to be so great. Even if you, did you ever go out and party a lot and then come home the next day and then have a down day the next day? That is a lack of balance. And so when we get ourselves out of balance, we tend to not have a great time. So I feel that balance is the answer to everything. Everything that's ever going on in your life, just strive for balance. Okay. And so that's really what the temperance card is. I really identify or associate myself with the temperance card. I really identify with balance. And that is also my Libra moon. If you happen to have a Libra moon, you'll find that balance is what helps you feel good. It helps you feel safe and like sort of at ease. Okay. And I think for a lot of people, when things are balanced, they feel better. Balance is very important. Ongoing next week, especially into next week, be careful not to overindulge. This is about indulgences. This is about, answering temptations that haven't exactly served you, that aren't exactly the best thing for you, or whatever. This is about the devil card. This is about the challenges as far as temptation. This is a warning about temptation late next week. So remember to review the choices that you've made. Remember the intention behind them. Why did you make that choice? Why did you do that? Why did you choose to do that? And let's get in touch with that choice, and let's keep going forward, especially as we go forward. Try to find a way to balance those problems. Try to pick the middle path, as the Buddha would say, and try to find a balance, because if you find balance, it will be easier for you to resist any kind of temptation or anything else like that that doesn't feel good. So I just want to invite you to be aware of those temptations next week, particularly at the end of the week, over the weekend, and next weekend.
Wow, what a powerful reading. Okay, I have to admit, tell me if anyone else agrees. When the devil card came up, all I could see was Trump. We're a queer program, so I'm going to just be honest. That's exactly what I thought. The devil equals Trump. I know MAGA thinks he's some freaking second coming, but we don't. We know better. What a powerful reading to correlate with the stars and astrology. Let us know how your week goes. Let us know if you have any questions. We look forward to interacting with you during the live, and thank you so much for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies and ready to work with them in your daily life. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need to hear it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment, let us know what resonated most or what you would like covered next week. Your questions and feedback make our show better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! And catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where you can ask questions in real time and be part of our cosmic community as it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.